episode 15. Today is How to Hack Your Thoughts, part 5. Really excited because we have somebody special as our guest today. Do you know, every day, thousands of thoughts run through our minds. We can be in one of three places at any time during the day or night: in the past, in the future, or in the present, which is the now. The easiest place to linger in our thoughts is the past or think about things that are not going right. And that's called negativity bias. When we are in the past, we are ruminating on, what should have been, what could have been, what I didn't do well, how I should have done something differently. Do you realize when we go there in the past, we have a good feeling when we're thinking about what's not going good. But if we linger there too long, then we end up in a dark place. The other place is the future. When we go or think about the future, we are worrying about, how are we going to make life happen? What are decisions we're going to make? What's the impact that would have? And worrying about that may or may not happen. And, thinking about how we spend time worrying about the future, and that just eats away our thinking power. And the third place is in the now, which is the hardest place to be. This is where we struggle because our thoughts want to drag us to the past or pull us into the future. Anyway, today we're excited to have someone special, a real dear, trusted friend for many, many years, Reverend Dr. Kenneth Briscoe, fondly known as Kenny. So don't go away. Stay right there. We'll be back, and we're going to hear from Kenny today. Welcome back. So great to have Dr. Reverend Kenneth Briscoe with us in the studio. Kenny, well, that's what I'm going to call you. I'm thrilled to have you here, and I cannot wait for you to share your thoughts that have been such an inspiration to me while I've been in this country. And you're the first person that I connected when I came to this country. So great to have you on the show.
Glad to be here, Coach Chloe.
Yeah, you can have a dig at me at any time. It's going to be okay, right? Okay. Okay, so we've had influences on the podcast and on different episodes. I've had people come on, and I've interviewed them on their thoughts. When it is silence, when there's silence, what are they hearing? When there's noise, what are they hearing? What are the thoughts that are going through their minds? And it's really been fascinating hearing from a whole lot of different people on their thoughts. So, when I thought about someone that I would love to have them share their thoughts, you came to mind. So that's why I invited you as a guest on the show. Okay, so here's the first question.
Okay.
When silence is golden, what are you saying to yourself?
That's a good question. When silence is golden, I'm actually asking myself questions, really, or trying to get answers. I go away, whether it's just sitting down with a journal, or I feel like I want to go to the park, and I'm going through the process of wanting direction. So it mostly is because when I ask those questions, whether it's about a venture or an opportunity or a project, and then I get the answer or the direction, it's golden. And for me, it's golden because I follow it.
Yes, I think that about you. I know you follow what you say you're going to do. I know that.
So that's good.
So here's what I'm hearing. When silence is golden, you are asking yourself questions. You want answers or you want direction. And so you journal, you may go to the park.
Mhm.
You So just wanting that, just the process of asking yourself the question gets you to the direction that you want to go in. And that's what's golden.
Pretty much. And I would say this, I'll add to that. About maybe 9 years ago, I was home by myself.
Yeah.
And literally, I heard this in my mind, but I heard it anyway. It said, this day. And so I'm like, what? This day? And again, I heard 3 times. Now, this process took a few hours. But eventually, I'm like, what? What is this day? And so what came to me was, I've given you this day. What are you going to do with this day? You can't go back to yesterday. You can't go forward into tomorrow. How are you going to maximize this day? And then you think about mortality. You think about a whole bunch of things, and you realize, oh, that is not even important. Am I really doing what I've been purposed here to do? Now, I can't think of a movie, but it's like your day start all over again. I forgot that show, but and so I miss it sometimes. But the thing is, because it's golden, I have that opportunity. How will I maximize this day?
Mhm. Yeah, what I like about what you just said now. You said I miss it sometimes. If it with because we have to repeat, and I think the movie you're talking about is Groundhog Day.
Yeah, yes, that's it.
Yeah, and sometimes we do miss because we don't get the lesson. And
Right.
I love when you share this day, because this day, this year, this hour, this moment, this minute is never gonna come back again.
That's right.
You know, a minute ago is already history, it's already past.
Mm.
So how do we use this day, this moment? Because this is what's golden.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I love that. That's beautiful. What was something that's fascinating to me is, as I interview people that are coming on, and all of your influences, um, everybody shares their own perspective, and each perspective is new, and it's enlightening for me. So I'm learning on this journey. Okay, so when silence is deafening,
Mm.
what do you say to yourself there?
Whew. Yeah, that happens too. you know, actually, because I really do enjoy having that time alone and just being quiet and thinking. But to answer that question, it's when things like disappointment, or I failed, I messed up in some way, and I'm being reminded, and it just won't leave. How could I have did this any better? And it's like almost as if you got to just kind of go through that process.
Yeah,
But yes, and it's still, you still asking. Sometimes you're asking the question, why? And there is no why. I mean, there's no answer to why it happened. It just it was.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And actually, you helped me with something once, because I was wrestling with something, and then you just said, "What did you learn from it?" Because I'm thinking about failure, and I don't want to go down that road again.
Mhm.
And you had asked, "What did you learn from it?" And the truth is, yes, I learned. So it's not a failure.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes, yeah, yeah. What we think about as failure is a lesson,
Mhm.
and there's a common phrase that is used in the corporate world, and it's fail forward. You fail
Mm.
forward. You fail by
Okay.
learning. Yeah. Um, so here's what I'm hearing you say, that things like disappointment, or when we all fail, we all mess up. And yes, I also like what you said about we keep being we reminded of it over and over again. And I'm going to quote you on this in other episodes: the thing won't leave. It's there. you know,
That's true.
yeah, it's negativity bias, because when things are not working out, or when we mess up, we want to go there. It draws us, the power, the drawing, it just
Mm.
pulls us there, and we like being there.
I don't know, but you're there.
Yeah, yeah. But it's a good feeling to be there, because we want to wallow and think and think and think. However, we can go there to reflect, to learn from the failure. But if we stay there too long,
Ah,
then that consumes us and takes
that's
us to the dark place.
that's true.
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah.
Yes.
And and asking the why, asking about the why. How many times we have the whys and there's no answer?
There's no answer. Right.
Being able to let it go.
Hmm.
Letting that go. We don't have the answer. Let it go. Let's move on. Here's now. Let's stay here in the now and enjoy this moment.
Yes.
Yeah. So my next question is: what are negative thoughts that go through your mind when there is noise?
Negative thoughts that go through my mind. It still goes back. I guess still go back through the why or how come. Okay, let me say it this way. I'm gonna say it. Let's say if it's disappointment or when I'm angry. Uh, it's like it's not that I'm trying to blame me or do a pity party thing, but um, that's a good question. I'm gonna I'm gonna keep that. You know, it still come back to the not understanding is a negative thought. Because you feel like you're in the right, or I'm gonna say me,
Mhm.
that there was misunderstanding. I won't go into the detail, but I had a friend who I feel like you know me, and so I felt like this person knew me, and made a comment. I just say this, just said I was talking about them. Now, I'm very seldom, and definitely not a minister of the gospel. No, I'm not going to do that. And I could not believe that he thought that I would be putting him down to someone else. And I couldn't, I just, and to take a little step further, I'll just say this, it was time for me to move on. Now, if I had not told him in advance that I'm not giving you time, I'm going to stay here, and I stayed there for 3 years with him, but it was time to move on. Well, I would just say this to this day, and it's been almost 6 years now. he, he he cut me off. There's no communication whatsoever. And so I could hang on to those negative thoughts thinking, wait a minute, that was my friend. And but the truth is, and you like the why. Well, what did I do? Why? All those questions, and like you said before, you can't hang there.
Yeah, yeah.
And I would say this last thing concerning that is that normally I don't. This is about the third time is interesting that I'm talking about this. This is about the third time I ended up talking about this month, believe it or not. This and so uh, there was another person who asked me, and it just came up, and I shared, and he basically said, I believe you were spared a situation. You was forced to be for this to happen, because how can someone go from being 100 degrees hot to 100 degrees cold, and you supposed to be a dear friend and
Mm,
never?
yeah,
that's,
yeah,
that's it. So you need to let it go. I
yeah.
thought I'd let it go, but I guess I hadn't.
Yeah. So a few things, that has you talking, and thank you for sharing that. But a few things that came to mind, because when we are disappointed, disappointment happens, and guess what? People disappoint us.
True that.
That's where the disappointment comes from. It's the people. There's nothing else. There's no things can't disappoint. It's people because everything is controlled by people, right? By
Mm.
a person. So when that happens, the noise that's in our
Mm.
heads, because that starts consuming us, it becomes noise. It's hard to hear anything else.
Anything else?
That, right? And
Yes.
then I heard you said you had to find a way to move on. In other words, you had to hack your thoughts. Because if you didn't do something about it, you would be sitting there, right?
Sitting there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So how did you hack your thoughts? How did you move on? What did you say? What was the thing?
Well, you know, then this kind of goes into again when I started out this day, going with that, and the thing is that um, I just really feel like purpose. God has called me for a purpose to impact lives, and so how can I do it better, or do I sit and waddle in my self pity, or sit there and just be consumed or being angry? It's not going to benefit anyone. And of course now I'm not accomplishing anything because I'm bound up. So I literally, because there's sometimes it's easy to move forward, and other times you just literally just have to you have to fight. You just have to push yourself forward and get it done.
Mhm.
And then when you see the outcomes, and then it was worth it.
Yeah, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So when you are hacking your thoughts, when you're in that place and there's noise and all this is going on, and you hacking your thoughts, you're thinking about your purpose. So your purpose drags you or pulls you away from that into the place that you need to be. So, and I see a visual, and the visual is you being pulled by your purpose, and
Yes.
you're sitting there. You're sitting there with all that. You're sitting there, just sitting there, right, and not accomplishing. But to
Right.
get to your purpose, you have to fight,
Yes.
and you have to do something. You have to fight against that, so you
That's true.
can and embrace your purpose.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing is that when you have to hack your thoughts, and you're in a negative place with all this noise, your anchor is your purpose.
Mm.
You
And
anchor in your purpose.
I like it. That's good. Yes.
Yeah, you anchored.
Good.
Um, yeah. So, have you experienced? This is we're gonna turn the
Yeah,
table
okay.
here for a
Okay.
little bit, right?
Okay.
On the direction. Um, have you experienced a time when you had to hack positive thoughts?
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. And then that I think I have that problem more than all the others. And I don't mind telling them myself. You know, I didn't like being called a dreamer, right? You're a dreamer because I do dream. I dream about ideas and making great accomplishments. And so sometimes I gotta hack my thoughts, and I just give it to you. Now I'm not telling my age, but you know how old I am. I'm out.
Yeah.
So with that, now I realize I've accepted the fact I'm a life learner. Okay, so yes, doctors, two masters, and all that. But now I was working on that second doctorate for education. Now with all that, you would think that's enough, but no, I was thinking, man, I'd like to become a lawyer. Uh, uh, AI is coming out, so I literally enrolled in a class on machine learning and AI, and then it's like, what are you doing? You got to just focus. Leave. You can't do everything.
Yeah.
So yes,
Yeah. So, when you said that, and I know that you're a dreamer. Oh, that's something I know that I know that very well about you, that you are a dreamer. You have so many dreams and you always accomplishing it, uh, which is really inspiring to me too. Because I'm similar to you, right? But here's what I heard you just say, And my next question was, how did you act that positive thought? You said, you asked yourself, what are you doing?
Yes. Okay.
What are you doing?
Some is practical,
Yeah.
and some is just, the practical side is, I don't believe it's, in a sense, it's wasting money, because I feel like I'm investing in myself. But the point is, what will I do with it once I have it? Am I just getting it just to have a title? No, yes, all these years I wanted to be an attorney, and oh, now because of the machine, AI is the future and all this. that- I'm not gonna do really get involved in it. It's just that I want to know about it. So logic have to kick in and say, uh, you, there's certain things that you don't need to be a part of. Just let it go. So
Yes.
money, and just understanding that I don't want to, I hate to use the word wasting my time, but in a sense, you're is really wasting time from doing other things that I could be more effective in.
Mhm. Um, I'm gonna call that what you just said.
Okay.
When I asked you about, you said, logic has to kick in. And here's what you said: there's a certain time you don't need to be a part of all that. You have to just let it go. Who are you talking to when you said that?
I'm talking to me.
Yes.
I'm talking to myself,
Those. Yeah,
because I've already made up in my mind I'm going down this direction.
yeah, yeah. That's the amount of talking we do. We
Mhm.
talk to ourselves more than we talk to the person closest to us.
Right. No, that's true. And,
Yeah.
and then when someone that's close to us have logic and try to tell us, we don't want to hear it sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. We only want to hear our logic. Okay. So, what is something that you would like to share with those listening to this podcast on how to hack their thoughts?
Oh, wow. Well, you know what? I would tell you this, because I know that the thoughts that gravitate to me mostly. But again, this was many years ago that this I was in a service, and the senior pastor was teaching, and he said this passage. When I heard it, nothing else I heard, that anything else he said I didn't hear. But I've held on to that all these years, and I made it mine. I've owned it, even though I didn't write it or create it or come up with it, but I own it. And so I feel like people, I'll just share it with you. It's Daniel 11:32b, 33a, and it says, people that know their God shall be strong and carry out great exploits. And I'm gonna stop there for a minute. The great exploits has nothing to do about necessarily doing great things, but is how are you impacting the lives of other people? And then it said those people who have understanding will instruct others. So I can't just be selfish with the things that I've accomplished or the things I've learned, good or bad. I need to share that with others. So I guess I would say, know that we have to be strong in order to carry out what we've been purposed here to do, the great exploits. And then when we accomplish whatever we accomplish, we have to instruct others.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
that's beautiful. Um, you know my dad,
yes.
and he's the person my number one go to. I remember I was talking about something to him, and he said to me, he said, you have been gifted with so much of wisdom, so much of,
Mm,
all these lessons. You have so much to share. And if you upset or angry and you withhold, you are not leaving a legacy behind.
wow. I like it.
He said, because when your life has come to an end and you move
Yes.
on, what do you leave behind? If you
Mm,
keep it because you're selfish,
selfish.
how will you fulfill your purpose? Because your purpose lives on in your
Yes.
legacy when we are gone ahead.
That's true. And,
You
and
know?
I'll just add. I just want to say I love that, by the way. And the only thing I add to that is we have everything we need to succeed. We really do. The thing is, it's been given to us in seed form, meaning it's just like a seed that you plant. You have to water, you have to nurture it to grow. So when we've been given an ideas or things that they've been given to us in seed form, it's up to us to make it happen, to bring it into reality.
Yeah.
So,
Yes. Yeah, we have everything that we need. Everything. You know, that is true, and it's in seed form. And I know you quoted Daniel. Is would that be the quote that comes to mind that you'd like to share? Is that the quote? Or
oh
you
no, well that's one, but I would say this one.
okay? What's a quote that comes to mind that you could leave with everybody?
Okay, you can do all things through Christ Jesus that strengthens you. And again, when you think about seed form, because we don't think, literally, none of us think we can do all things, but we can. You just have to put your focus and not get sidetracked on trying to do everything.
Yeah.
So I would say that.
So sidetracked pretty much means hack your thoughts.
Have your, I like yes,
Hack your thoughts. Yeah. Hack your thoughts. Come back to the track.
yes.
The- yes.
No, that's good.
Yeah. Kenny, what a pleasure. Thank you so much for
Well,
sharing
so good seeing you again.
your wisdom with everybody watching. I know that they are, really blessed and they're taking a lot away from today. So everybody that's out there, like I always end our shows, your story is changing. You are the storyteller of your story. Your story are your thoughts. Your thoughts are your self-talk. Who you are becoming are your thoughts. What you tell your brain is what your brain remembers. And here's what really matters: who you're becoming is greater than who you were before this moment. So if you like what you're hearing, please go ahead, click below or drop in the chat your some thoughts that you'd like to share with everyone. Maybe share one way that you hack your thoughts. We'd love to hear. Powerful declarations are inside of you that are waiting to be manifest. Like Kenny just shared, there is a seed inside of you. What you do with that seed is the tree that will grow. So look forward to seeing you next week with another great guest and just to learn how to hack your thoughts. Take care, everybody.